Yo, what's going on out there? It's Larry coming to you again with another Blazing Sports Report. Actually, this is part 2 of my NBA playoff preview. The first one, you can check that out right here somewhere or over there somewhere. It's probably like related videos or something like that. I may not even put a link down there. I'm just thinking about it as I'm writing all this stuff out anyway. But anyway, let's get to the nitty-gritty of the Western Conference playoffs. 1 versus 8, we got the Spurs and the Utah Jazz. San Antonio won this series 3-1 in the regular season. Now, here's the thing with the San Antonio Spurs. They are the deepest team in the NBA. They are the most consistent team in the NBA. They are perhaps will be the most efficient team in these NBA playoffs. But they will have one problem against these Utah Jazz, and that's the inside game of Al Jefferson, Paul Millsap, and Derek Favors. When it comes to the Utah Jazz, their post game is probably their most dominating effort that they have. But when you look at what the San Antonio Spurs bring, they have shifted from being an inside team to being an outside team. And you have, in my opinion, the MVP of the NBA and Tony Parker back running point guard. You got Steven Jackson coming off the bench. You got Ginobili coming off the bench. You have Diaw coming off the bench. You have Splitter coming off the bench. You have DeJuan Blair coming off the bench. You got Gary Neal coming off the bench. You have Kawhi Leonard as a starter, so he may not come off the bench. But anyway, Spurs are deep. They're a very deep team. They can do it inside, outside. They pass the ball. They share the ball. They respect Greg Popovich, who is, I guess I would give him my Coach of the Year nod. Greg Popovich has done a great job. Him or Frank Vogel, those are my 2 Coach of the Year candidates in my opinion. But anyway, San Antonio, they will win this series. I don't see any reason why they won't win this series. Tony Parker, like I said, is the MVP of the NBA this year. What he has done with this San Antonio Spurs team, he has been able to share the ball more than he's ever done in his career, as well as keep his scoring averages up. Tim Duncan has been producing at an efficient level. I'm not going to say an all-star level, but the man has been very efficient in what he's done. Ginobili is coming back from injuries, and he looks as good as ever. Steven Jackson, he respects Greg Popovich, so you know his head is going to be on straight. Like I said, the one thing that they will have to contend with, Al Jefferson, who's been playing lights out as of late on the inside game. You know, he can knock down shots as well as bully his way on the inside. The man has great post moves. Paul Millsap, you know, he's going to attack the boards. Derek Favors, he's long and lanky. He's going to come in there, provide athleticism for the Utah Jazz. But outside of those 3 guys, who I think will be the main catalyst for those guys going forward, I don't think there's really much more that you can expect. I mean, Devin Harris has been solid this year. They haven't gotten much production out of the shooting guard position. But you do have Gordon Hayward, who has emerged this year as being a legitimate key player for any team in the NBA if he does not stay in Utah. But like I said, I think that the Spurs will win this one. I'm not going to say this will be a sweep. I think this will be a 5-game series. I think the Spurs will move on, and that'll be that. Moving on to Oklahoma City Thunder, they get the Dallas Mavericks, the defending NBA champions. And here's the thing about the Dallas Mavericks. They are the defending NBA champions, and until otherwise stated, they will be the defending NBA champions until they get knocked out of the playoffs. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder are one of the most talented teams in the NBA. They're young, they're athletic, they're hungry. Ibaka has emerged as the most dominant shot blocker in the NBA right now. Coupled with the athleticism that he has, it's amazing what this man can do when he's going after the ball. The one problem for them, James Harden has the concussion. We don't know how he's going to respond coming back from that. I've never had a concussion before, so I don't know any lingering symptoms that he may feel, but I do know that James Harden will be an extremely important piece to what the Oklahoma City Thunder do going into the playoffs. Now, you know, on Dallas' side, you have Dirk, you have Terry, you have Marion, you have Bobois. Brandon Wright has emerged as a legitimate player in the NBA. He's been healthy this year. He's been a legitimate backup for these guys this year. Vince Carter, he's been iffy all season long. But here's the thing. The Dallas Mavericks, they know what it takes to win. They've won last year when they were the underdogs. Nobody expected them to even be close to the NBA Finals, and yet they pulled it off. Do I think it'll happen again this year? No, I do not. There's the thing. Dirk Nowitzki against Serge Ibaka. Dirk Nowitzki has that matchup all day for the simple fact he has to bring Ibaka out of his comfort zone, which is roaming the paint, blocking shots. If Dirk Nowitzki can couple that if he can use that talent to bring him outside and allow other guys to slash to the basket, guys like the Sean Marions, like the Roddy Beaubois, if they can get inside and attack the paint, this could be a long series. Now, in my personal opinion, I think this will go 6 games. Oklahoma City did win the season series 3-1. We all know that Kevin Durant is an MVP candidate. He's not my MVP. In my opinion, he's second. But I will say that the Oklahoma City Thunder will win this in 6 games. Dallas, I don't think they just have enough. You know, they lost Tyson Chandler, who was their defensive anchor, but I do think this will be a toughly contested series. It will have that fire and intensity that everyone wants in a playoff matchup, and that'll be that. Kevin Durant is going to show out. Russell Westbrook definitely has the athleticism advantage in the backcourt over Jason Kidd. We know that Jason Kidd is the veteran on that team. He knows how to run an offense, something that Russell Westbrook doesn't know how to do. But we know that Dallas can do both, run up and down the court as well as operate in the half-court offense, which is Oklahoma City's primary weakness right now, is operating in the half-court. But I don't think it'll be a problem for these guys. I think that matchups will be great when you look at individual matchups in terms of the athletic guys, the Durant versus the Marion, the Ibaka versus the Nowitzki. Those matchups will be interesting to watch. The Terry versus Harden matchup. Those will be the matchups that I want to pay attention to. But I think in the end, the Oklahoma City Thunder will pull this off. I think it'll be 6 games. The reason I say it'll be a 6-game series because they have slid in the last month or so. So you don't know what you're actually going to get when it comes to these two. Now moving on, we got the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Denver Nuggets, a dangerous Denver Nugget team. But I will say this, even though they have the advantage in the perimeter, you do have the Black Mamba, you do have Andrew Bynum, and you do have Pau Gasol on the inside. Now we all know that Ron Artest is going to be missing, aka Metal World Peace. I can't call him that after that elbow anymore, but I should call him John Bones Jones because that's what he did with that elbow. But here's the thing. Lawson has been a solid point guard all season long. Gallinari, he's been in and out with injuries all season long. They required JaVale McGee, who's going to give them some length on the inside. But they lost out on Nene, who was a legitimate part of their offensive game. They have the Manimal and Kenneth Faried, who's a very exciting player to watch. I'd love to watch Kenneth Faried play. You got Aflalo, who's a great defender, who's always guarded Kobe closely, but I'm not going to say he's ever shut him down, but he does make Kobe work. But here's the thing. Bynum and Gasol should dominate the inside of this matchup all series long, especially if Kobe gets them the ball. Kobe said he's realized that he needs to give those guys the ball. Bynum should have his way, absolutely have his way with JaVale McGee on the inside. And Gasol's length, I don't think Kenneth Faried can handle it. If the Lakers do not win this game, do not win this series in at least, no, let me not even say at least, at the most 5 games, something is wrong. We know that Denver plays great at home. They all know about the altitude and all that other stuff, but I don't think it's going to matter. Kobe Bryant, he's going to do what he does. Ramon Sessions, he's kind of slowed down as of late. Even without Metal World Peace in the lineup, I do think that Matt Barnes can take over what he left off in defense. But they'll get in the second round, they'll get him back, and then we'll see what happens with that. But the Lakers should win this one easily in no more than 5 games. Now to the matchup that I am more excited to see than maybe the Miami-New York matchup, and that is these Grizzlies against the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, in my opinion, Blake Griffin is one of the most overrated players in the NBA. He dunks, he rebounds. He rebounds because he jumps high, but he's not what I would call a guy who knows how to rebound. He can rebound because he's strong, he's athletic, he can get to the ball, but I don't think he has a knack for rebounding like a guy like a Kevin Love has, like a Dwight Howard has. Those guys know how to rebound the ball. Blake Griffin is athletic enough to collect a lot of rebounds. His post moves are limited. He plays out of control at times, and he's going up against a guy in Zach Randolph who plays the power forward position beautifully for what he does. We know Zach has the outside shot. He can battle on the inside. He can rebound the ball. Zach can do it all at the power forward spot. But I think the key matchup in this will be the wings of Memphis. When I say the wings, I'm talking about the Rudy Gays, the OJ Mayos, the Tony Allens, those guys, how they attack the Los Angeles Clippers, because we know the Clippers are not a great defensive team by any means. DeAndre Jordan is going to block shots on the inside. Blake Griffin has not shown that he can be a solid defender. He's not even a good defender in my opinion. He's not even a decent defender in my opinion. That's why I think Zach Randolph will have his way with this. Marc Gasol, on the other hand, he's a scrappy guy. He's the scrappy Gasol. He knows how to dish. He knows how to create for himself. He has skill post moves, and he's going up against a guy in DeAndre Jordan. Nick Young, he's going to shoot shots. Randy Foye, he's going to shoot shots. Caron Butler, he's their defender. Chris Paul is going to have to create so many opportunities for these guys in order for the Clippers to actually have a legitimate chance in knocking out the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, LA won a regular season series 2-1, but I don't know who was in and out of the lineup for the Memphis Grizzlies during those games. Mike Conley is going to have a great series in order for Memphis to actually win this series in less than 6 games. But when you consider OJ Mayo comes off the bench for these guys and he produces so much for those guys coming off the bench, Tony Allen, you know he's going to be a great defender. It's going to be interesting to see if the Clippers can find a way to defend the wings, the Rudy Gays, the OJ Mayos, the Mike Conleys, those guys. Because honestly, I think the lack of defensive players and a defensive mentality for the Los Angeles Clippers, especially since Chauncey Billups went down, I think it's going to hurt them a lot more than a lot of people think. Reggie Evans is going to scrap if he gets the PT. I don't know if he will or not. I haven't seen him on the court recently. But I will say this. The Memphis Grizzlies are a dangerous team. They could make it to the Western Conference Finals this year with the team that they have, especially if they stay healthy. We know that everybody has had, a lot of the key players for this team have had their injury issues. But I will say this. Haddadi has came out of nowhere for a couple of games, but like I said, you don't never know what you're going to get when it comes to guys like that, those virtual unknowns that you never hear from that much. But the Clippers' lack of defensive players, defensive ability to limit points, especially with a team that can score from all positions like the Memphis Grizzlies, I think that's going to be the thing that keys them past the Los Angeles Clippers. I think the Memphis Grizzlies will win this. I think this will probably be the other series that could possibly go 7 games, because the Clippers probably, if I'm not mistaken, they do play very well at home. I don't know what their home record is, but I think this and the Atlanta-Boston series, those are the 2 series that will probably go 7 games. But I think that the Memphis Grizzlies will move on to this. They could win it in 6, but it wouldn't shock me if it went 7, because there are times when the Memphis Grizzlies can get a little stagnant on offense. The ball doesn't fall for them. It doesn't drop, and it becomes a game where they're looking for somebody else to key their offense. The thing is, the consistency issue, I think, is going to be the biggest thing for the Memphis Grizzlies outside of the talent level. They have the talent, but do they have the consistency to actually knock off the Los Angeles Clippers in a shorter series? We'll have to see about that. But I think that this could go 7 games. You know that with the Clippers being back in the playoffs, that the Clippers fans are going to show up. They're going to be excited. And who knows? We could have something. We could have a more competitive series. But like I said, Chris Paul, he's going to have to create a lot for his guys. He's going to have to do so much. It's basically like he's in New Orleans all over again. But I do think that if Chris Paul plays at an MVP level, not only as a point guard, but also scoring the ball as well, because they're going to need Chris Paul to score the ball a lot in order to get past these Memphis Grizzlies. Do I think it'll happen? Maybe, maybe not. We know that Chris Paul can't take over a game. He chooses to wait till the 4th quarter to do so, but he's going to have to do that all game long. Blake Griffin is going to have to learn to play under control. And the other guys, the Nick Youngs, the Randy Foyes, the Caron Butlers, Eric Bledsoe has come back, and he's been tremendous for these guys. He's shown that athleticism to showing that he's back. But I do think that the Grizzlies do have enough. It's going to be consistency versus defense. I think that's going to be the key thing right here, because the lack of defense for the Clippers is something that concerns me with them moving into the playoffs, and the lack of consistency by the Memphis Grizzlies is something that concerns me. That's why I say this series could go 7 games, but in the end, I think the Memphis Grizzlies, they do pull it off though. Larry Jenkins, Western Conference. This has been my playoff predictions for the Western Conference. Let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of you guys out there don't agree with everything I say, but hey, you're entitled to your opinion. This is just mine given to you. Larry Jenkins, Blazing Sports Support. I'll holler at y'all. Peace.